I don't know if it was love or just a deep connection or a bond, but it was something. It's about to be a story time because this is one of the craziest things that ever happened to me. It was just a regular day. Being in Juvenile taught me a lot. I didn't know what to expect when I first got there, you know, but I knew I had to be strong, and that came pretty easy because of the way I was raised. But the people that I met there left a lasting impression, and this one person in particular, Josh, well, let me start here. So, when I was young, I got into some trouble. I got into a fight on the streets at a little garage party, that spilled over into the school. They tried to jump me pretty much at this party. And it was a party that happened on Saturday night. So I contemplated, I knew that I had to go. It was going to go down when I got to school on Monday. And I ain't never been no scared person. So I had to, just suck it up and go head on with it. But the guy who tried to jump me was in my class. So I arrived to school late. And he was already sitting down. The class was already in session. So I walked past his aisle. I always been a dude with a lot of heart. Like, I'm not going to go around the other way or, hide or run or go through another street, take this corner and take a detour so I couldn't run into you. I always went head on to any type of beefs or anything that I had. It was just the heart that I had. So I walked past him and he look at me and say some like fly shit, like, yo, look at this nigga or something. And everybody in the classroom started laughing. And I didn't even say nothing to him, So I just walked past. I'm not going to argue with you or, do anything. I walked past the desk that I was supposed to be sitting at. I picked it up, walked behind him, boom! Knocked the nigga over the head with it. All you seen was just blood just splatter everywhere. Like, it was just spacks of blood. The whole class was, and he get up and try to box with me. I could see blood drizzling, down. And I'm, pat, 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 pat. You know what I'm saying? So we boxing. He really couldn't do nothing after, he was dazed and his head was busted open and split. But, that was the thing that landed me in jail. I think he had like 27 staples in his head. My class was so distraught. Everybody got to go home early. They had to come in and clean up the blood. I got expelled from school. All these things, and the school pressed charges on me. His name was Jermaine and his mama. They was at court all the time. They was pressing it. So I ended up doing a year, to make a long story short. Now, I was going through different little facilities, Tico and all these other jails, before they figured out a place that I was going to be. Now, it was a new jail called Circleville that had just got built in Circleville, Ohio. It had 3 different pods, and it was a brand new facility where you had to go outside. It was a pod here, a pod in the middle, and a pod in the front. And then an administrative office in the front of that. and then you had the cafeteria right here. So every day we had to go outside to go to the cafeteria or go to the school or go have rec or anything like that. So it was a cool facility. I was one of the first people there, me along with 6 other guys that came from Tico too. And we was excited about going to it. You know, we knew it was a new jail. We was asking people, some of the staff was like, oh, y'all going to the new jail. Y'all the first ones there. We was waiting for them to get finished building and then doing what they had to do. So we knew we was going there and we was very excited. Like, yeah, we was going to have new scrubs and new underwear. We ain't have to wear underwear with somebody else shit stains in it, or dirty t-shirts that never came back white, you know, all these things that you have to go through when you in a jail that's been running for 1100 years, you know. So we was excited. When we first got there, everybody was real cool. The cafeteria was brand new, and the food, we got so much food because it was only 7 people there. You know, the staff had got really cool with us, you know, because it wasn't no trouble. It was just, we was just chilling every day. I had a single room in my pod, and you know, the other people that was in my pod, we was good. They was from different cities, but we all got along because we all had that bond in common that we came to a new facility together and nobody else was there. Now, that started to change when new kids started coming. I mean, every day it'd be 7, 8 new people coming. And Circleville started to fill up real fast. That started changing the dynamics of everything being cool. I mean, you had gang members coming, Bloods, Crips, folks, different people from different cities, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Ohio. I mean, Ohio is the state, but Toledo, everywhere that you could imagine. In Ohio, people was coming in from, and it started to get full. Now you got all these different personalities and attitudes and people that's trying to vibe to be, you know, the hardest nigga up in there and all that stuff. So it was kind of like they disrupted the flow of it, you know, and the nice kid in me started to get not so nice. You know, people wanted to test me. People wanted to, you know, do what they do when you're in jail. You know, I had a single cell, but single cells were for people that, you know, did good. You couldn't be in no trouble and have a single cell. If you got into trouble and you were in a single cell, they would take the single cell from you and put you in a cell with the bunkie. Now, if you ever been locked up, you know, having a bunkie could go left or right. You could get somebody that stink, that don't take showers every night, somebody that's just nasty, farting every night and musty, you know, hygiene, shitting or pissing, and like it could get real bad. So that wasn't a good thing that I wanted to do, have a bunkie. You never know, they could be crazy, talking on, y'all can't get along, y'all could be up in there fighting till y'all kill yourself, you know. So I tried to keep it cool, but people kept testing me. Now on this particular day that I lost my single cell, I'm in the cafeteria and a dude walks past me, and I think we had burgers that day, and he walks past and sticks his finger in my burger and say, "You want that?" So I look down and I got a big hole, a big finger in the middle of my burger, and he walking away laughing. So I just turned red. You know, I picked up my tray, got up, hit him in, and we fighting in the cafeteria. Pat, 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 pat. Tore the whole cafeteria up. You know, they knew they seen him do it. You know, it was a disrespectful thing to do, so he got what he had coming, you know. And he went to the hole, but I got my cell taken away from my single cell, which wasn't right, because y'all seen him put his finger in my burger. What I'm supposed to do now? Eat around the hole? Like a little donut and make a little donut with it? Nah, you know. So Josh, and he was cool. He was always smiling and happy. He was, you know, about 5'11", light skin, had real pink lips, curly hair, just a real cool dude. But he worked in the cafeteria. He was never really on the pod. We would see him when he came home around 6 o'clock, came back to the, the unit around 6 o'clock, and he would take a shower, and a lot of times he would hang out for a little bit, but then he'd go in the cell and chill. He had a roommate, a cellie, but his cellie ended up going somewhere else, so he was in a double bunk cell by himself. Now, when I got into my little altercation in the cafeteria, they took my single cell and they put me in a cell with Josh. Now, Josh was a real cool dude, but he wasn't nothing to fuck with. To be honest, Josh was a Crip, and we all thought Josh was just a cool dude, until other Bloods and Crips started coming and telling us how Josh was. Other Bloods would tell us like, yeah, they didn't like the nigga. Oh, that nigga shot up my homeboy's crib, or he pulled a gun out at my homeboy at the corner store. It was like Bloods wanted to get at him. So they put me in the cell that was right next to me, which was Josh's room. And they put me in the cell when he wasn't there. So Josh came back, and I'm in the cell with him, and he was like, what happened? I'm like, they took my single from me, man. I was pissed. I was like, yeah, they talking about I did this and did that, and took my single from me. So he was like, damn, that's cool. He was like, well, you good over here. He was telling me how he liked to do stuff. Oh, I keep this over here to, this and that, and you can have this shelf. He was cleaning off the shelf. Now, Josh, we had never really been that close because, like I said, he was never on the pod. But now that we was bunkies, we started to talk a lot more. And I started to see a lot about Josh that was just amazing. He was a great person. He was loving. He was family oriented and really cared about his family and his homies and things like that. Josh used to always have me dying laughing. Like, we would stay up all night just talking. But a couple of times he did some things that was kind of suspicious to me, or it just made me just, be like, take a take back. One time he came up to me and he gifted me with a pocket pussy. And he was like, yo, you need to try one of these. And I was like, what is that? And he was like, it's a pocket pussy. And I was like, a pocket pussy? What the fuck is a pocket pussy? And he was like, it's like you jack off with it. And the pocket pussy, for those who don't know, is pretty much a sock. They'd take a sock, a plastic bag. They did some magic trick with the sock where they wrapped it around and they put the plastic bag in. You can make the pocket pussy as deep or as tight as you want it, and you put grease in it, hair grease, Vaseline, lotion, whatever you want, whatever feel you want, People use the different mixture. I asked Josh what he put in it. He said he put grease and lotion in it. He was like, you could tighten it up right here. He was like, yo, try it. And I was like, nah, I'm good. And I ain't trying to fuck no pocket pussy. But he was like, I'm telling you, it'll change your life. It feel just like the real thing. And I was like, okay, so I took the pocket pussy. What else? He spent his time making me a pocket pussy, so I took the pocket pussy. Now, after that, Josh would always ask me, like, did you try the pocket pussy? And I'll be like, nah, not yet. Like, I'm going to try it, though. Like, he'd be like, I'm telling you, boy, you need to try that thing. Josh had his own pocket pussy, but I think he left the pocket pussy out. I didn't know where his pocket pussy was out, so when they came and did, searches on the room, they took his pocket pussy and took whatever else that he had that wasn't supposed to be in there. And he was mad that his pocket pussy was gone. He asked me, could he use my pocket pussy one day? And I was like, yeah. He was like, you used it? And I was like, nah, I ain't use it yet. He was like, man, you might as well let me get that back. You ain't gonna use it. I'm like, I mean, you good. You could use it, you know. But he used to do a lot of things that just made me look like, you know, we would talk all night long. Like, we would be in our cell, like, just up all night, just talking. I knew everything about his life. I mean, I knew about his family. I knew stories that he did on the streets, gang banging, and his close calls with life and death. You know, I knew about the enemies that he had there at Circleville. He told me what went down and why so-and-so was beefing with him, and, you know, what made him join the gang. I asked him all these questions, and he told me everything. You know, we would stay up all night in our boxers doing push-ups, and we'd be taking turns just doing push-ups, looking out the window. You know, we had a little window. You know, we'd look out, be looking at the staff down there, and just talking, chopping it up, you know. And Josh was my boy. He would do things that, you know, kind of like one day, several days, I'd be on my bunk and Josh would say things like, damn, my dick hard as fuck. And I'd be like, oh, okay, my nigga, like, you know, sorry. You know what I'm saying? And he'd be like, man, I'm about to jack off. And I'll be like, well, handle your business, my nigga. You know, he'd be like, I'm just letting you know. You know what I'm saying? I want you to get up and be surprised if you see this dick. And I'll be like, you funny, man. You know, handle your business. So I would stay on the bunk and I would hear Josh jacking off on the top bunk. And sometimes he would be moaning loud and be saying shit, oh shit, nigga, like, damn. Like, and I'd be like, just quiet. I have a book or something, and I'd be like on the bottom bunk just looking like, really, nigga, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I would even laugh and he'd be like, nigga, this shit feel good. I ain't gonna even lie. You know, he did crazy stuff. Like, when he came, he would turn, the bed was like, the bunks was by the wall. Like, he would nut on the wall. You know, and sometimes I would see like yellow stains on the wall, like, and I, you know, when we'll be cleaning up the room, I see it, or I'd be like, nigga, you nutted on the wall? He'd be like, I ain't want to nut on the floor. You get up and step in it. And I'm like, nigga, find a sock or a towel or something to, you know, like, you got the wall all yellow with your nut stains and shit. Like, nigga, he'd be like, oh, I'll clean it, you know. So he'd, you know, get the rag and stuff like that, and he'd scrub the wall. But it was always nut stains on the wall, and that was the thing. I'd be like, Josh, nigga, you need to stop nutting on the wall, my nigga. Like, that shit nasty. Like, I never touched the wall because it was like, this nigga nut stains was drizzled all the way down it. But yeah, he would always tell me when he was about to jack off. You know, he would moan, you know, loud in front of me. And Josh, he became my boy. Like, I knew the shit that he been through. So all of that, you only could fuck with Cleveland nigga shit, that shit went out the window. Like, that was my boy. If he got into something, I got into it. I wasn't even a Crip, but people thought I was a Crip because it was like, you always with Josh, and if Josh fought, I fought. No questions asked. Like, if you coming at him, you had to come at me. You know what I'm saying? And Josh had hands. That's what I loved about him. He was a nice dude, always smiling and joking, but he had hands, and I had hands. So it was like, we both would just go in. If something happened, we would go in. So Cleveland people, some of them stopped liking me. They thought I was disloyal, like, oh, you fucking with that, you know, Toledo nigga. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be like, nigga, I fuck with anybody who fuck with me. Like, I ain't on that shit where, you know, I gotta, some of y'all niggas I don't even like, but y'all want me to ride with y'all because y'all from the same city? Fuck out of here. Like, nah, I'm not with that. You know, and I just was loyal to Josh. Now, Josh, he worked in the cafeteria, like I told you. and he would bring home snacks. I said bring back, well, it was home, but he'd bring back cookies and snacks and extra things and, you know, juice and stuff like that. And he would give it to me like, here you go. Like, I would have cookies, all types of things. Like, he always made sure he look out for me. Now, one particular day, he came back and I was in the cell. You know, we was talking. I was like, what's up? You know, he was telling me about work. And he had a napkin. And he was like, you know, holding the napkin. I thought it had some cookies or something in it. And he was like, yo, smell this. And I was like, what is it? He was like, smell it. So he put the napkin up to my nose, and I'm holding his hand like, cause I ain't wanting to put it in my face. So I'm like, what the fuck is that? And he was like, it's pussy. And I was like, pussy? Nigga, you got pussy in a napkin? And he was like, no, you know, he was like, I fucked the lunch lady. And I was like, nigga, you fucking the lunch lady? He was like, it just happened. He told me the whole story, how they was back there prepping and doing things, and she pretty much was throwing it at him, you know. And he received it, you know. But I was like, well, how you get the pussy on the napkin? And he was like, he wiped his dick with it. And I'm like, nigga, you making me smell a napkin that you wiped your dick with? And he was like, yeah. And he kept on smelling, and I'm like, boy, you crazy. Like, he was like, I'm like, you gonna keep that? He was like, yeah, I'm gonna jack off to it. I was like, now the napkin, it didn't smell good to me, but I guess he liked it. So I'm like, okay, you know, man, that boy was crazy. But, you know, he would tell me all types of stories, and we would talk all night. You know, he would say things like, man, I can't wait till I get out. I'm gonna fuck this bitch, and tell me about this bitch he fucked. And yo, I used to fuck the shit out of this bitch, man. That bitch used to be screaming for my dick and this and that. I used to be like, damn, like his sex stories was off the chain. Like, I'll be listening, like I couldn't even go to sleep, you know, listening to his stories. We would talk to 3 a.m. sometimes until we both just fell asleep, or I fell asleep on him. Sometimes he'd be like, nigga, I was telling you about so-and-so and you fell asleep. I'd be like, my nigga, I was tired. I was trying to listen, you know. But we had like that a couple times. We got into fight with people, and we rolled out like people was telling us to come out our cell, and we was ready. We was about it, you know. But Josh, he was my dude, man. Now, on this particular day, this were things, you know, took a little left turn. As usual, he was up on the bunk. I was on the bottom bunk, and, you know, he was talking about his dick and shit. Like, man, I be fucking the shit out of these bitches. They love this dick. Like, my shit big, too. And I'm like, okay, you know, that wasn't nothing out the norm for Josh to be talking about his dick and how big it is and how he fucked the shit out of these bitches. And I was just listening. And he was like, nigga, I think I said something to him like, nigga, you stay talking about your little ass dick. He was like, little? Like, nigga, ain't shit about my dick little. And I was like, okay, nigga, niggas who talk about they dick as much as you do, they got little dicks, trust me. This nigga said, I bet you my dick bigger than yours. And I was like, I doubt it, bro. You know what I'm saying? I doubt that serious. He was like, I bet you my midnight snack for the next 3 days that my dick is bigger than yours. And I was like, you know, I was like, okay, bet. I didn't think he was going to do what he did, but Josh jumped off the bunk, pulled down his, you know, scrubs with a hard ass dick. And he was like, what, nigga, what? And I'm like, bro, you crazy. I didn't want to look at it, but I'm looking like, nigga, I can't believe this nigga just jumped off the bunk and pulled down his scrubs with a hard ass dick. And I was like, man, I ain't about to do. He was like, no, nigga, let me see yours. Like, you talking that shit? Like, and I was like, okay. So I get up and I pull my shit down, and I'm like, and this nigga looking at my dick like, okay. Like, yours is nice, but mine's like, I think mine's is a little thicker, and just trying to compare and shit. And I'm like, nigga, like, nah, you know, he was like, your shit long and my shit is like round around here. And I'm like, okay, nigga. And it was just like an awkward moment. And I'm like, so I get back on the bed or whatever. I was like, nigga, I won. I want my, you know, I won. You know, all that comparison shit. You can say whatever you want, nigga. We know what it is. I want my fucking 3 snacks, period. But, yeah, so we played it off like homeboys, and you know, but in my mind, I'm like, I can't believe this nigga just compared dicks with me, but you know, it is what it is. We continued talking, went to sleep. So the next day, he's up on the bed again. He gets horny and tells me, you know, that he's about to jack off and do all that stuff. And I was like, again, like, nigga, handle your BI, you know. And he was like, don't you want to come up here and help me? And at that moment, my heart started beating fast. Like, what do I say? Like, do I say no or be like, no, nigga, I ain't on that shit? You know what I'm saying? Or be like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Like, only thing I could say was help you how? He was like, come up here and find out before I change my mind. And I was like, so I got up, you know what I'm saying? Got up on the bunk with him, and shit went down. Like, it went down in the cell. Like, you know, we pretty much just like jacked off together, you know, and it was like an intimate thing. Like, we was on each other, like our legs was on each other. We was close, and we was jacking off together. And you know, we bust a nut or whatever. And you know, I took off my shirt and I wiped up. He used it and he wiped up. And pretty much that was it for me. I was about to, you know, get up, hop off the bunk and, you know, get back in my bunk. But he grabbed me and was like, stay up here with me tonight. And I was like, stay up here with you? Like, he was like, yeah, don't go. And I was like, all right. So I just laid there next to him, but I couldn't sleep. He fell asleep and I'm laying there, you know, just wide awake. For one, I was nervous because I didn't want them to do count and come in and look and see that I wasn't in my bunk, because they'd flash the flashlight in there and look at both, and they would see that I wasn't in the bottom bunk, and then they'd come in and all that if I was sleeping, see us in the bed together. And then a lot of things was going through my mind, like, what the fuck just happened? You know, it was like we went from just being homeboys and just talking shit. Now I'm laying in your bunk and you got your arm around me and I could hear you breathing and your heartbeat and all that. And it was like, a nigga was fast asleep. So when he got comfortable, it was so much in my mind. I couldn't sleep, and I wasn't going to sleep in that bunk. It was just too risky. So I got up and I got back down in the bottom bunk. And, you know, I thought about it until I fell asleep. And, yeah, that was crazy. But it got even more crazy because when he woke up, and we woke up for breakfast time, he didn't say nothing to me. He was just quiet. He wasn't the same person. It was like, I don't know if he never said anything about it. You know, usually he'd be like, what's up, and talking in the morning and, you know, real energetic, but he just got up and was just quiet. And I was quiet too. I didn't want to say nothing or bring it up or anything like that. So I just let him be quiet. I was like, you know, if he ain't gonna say nothing, I ain't gonna say nothing, you know. So we pretty much just went on and act like it never happened. He went to work, you know, as usual. I was thinking about it the whole day while he was at work. Like, I hope this don't change our friendship and We was cool as fuck, and I still got to be in a room with him. So I was thinking about it. It was heavy on my mind, but when he came back, he was a little more comfortable, and he was back to himself. He came back with some snacks, and he was like, yo, you guys had these. And by the third day, we was all the way back to normal. Now, me and Josh, we continued talking. We never ever talked about that experience. It was just like it never happened. In my mind, I was thinking, I know he knew it happened. Many days I was thinking, would it happen again? It was just like, damn, like I just couldn't understand. And he continued talking to me like nothing ever happened, still telling me when he was about to jack off and doing these things. And I was just like, I feel you, nigga, handle it. You know what I'm saying? So Josh release date was coming up, and he became really down and depressed and sad a couple days before he got released. So I was talking to him, and I was just like, you about to get out, you about to get back to your life, get back to the streets, you gonna get some pussy, you gonna be happy, and you gonna be the man again, make you some money and do all the things that you should have been doing, man. This was just a minor setback. I know you could do it. I was encouraging him and letting him know, like, man, you gonna be good. I'm proud of you, and he was just listening. He was like, yeah. And I was like, what's wrong? You don't seem like you happy, that you about to get out. You got one in the wake up. He says, I wish I could just stay here with you. Now, when he said that, it threw me for a loop, because I'm like, what do you mean? Like, we ain't even talked about the thing that happened or nothing like that. So what are you talking about? You wish that you could just stay here with me? Like, you want to just stay in jail, or you want to just stay here with me? What, like, I was like, what you mean? I was like, nah, nigga, you about to get out, man. You about to live. I'm about to be out here too. Like, I can't wait till I get out. He was like, nah, I just don't feel good about getting out. So I was like, why though? Like, why don't you? He was like, just ain't nothing out there on the streets for me. He was like, I'd rather stay here. I just don't feel like it's gonna be good out there. Excuse me, y'all. He said he don't feel like it's gonna be good out there. And I didn't understand why he was feeling that way. I just tried to encourage him and be like, bruh, like, trust me, you gonna be good. Just stay focused, stay out of trouble, and do your thing. Just make sure you don't come back here. But he was really down and sad. Not the same for the last days that he was there. Very quiet. And I kept trying to encourage him, like, man, I was like, you gonna write me? I'm gonna write you. I was like, I need you. As soon as I get out, man, I'm coming to Toledo. We gonna kick it. We gonna run the streets and do everything. And he was like, yeah. He was like, I was like, you gonna write me? He was like, yeah, I'm gonna write you. I'm gonna write you every week. And I was like, you better, nigga. Like, you my nigga. Like, giving him dabs and hugs and, But he just kept saying, like, I don't want to go. And I'm like, I just didn't understand why he didn't want to go. But I started to feel him a little bit. I was like, yeah, I feel you, man. Just make the best of it. So his day to go came up, and he was packing up his things and giving me everything. He was like, I ain't giving nobody shit. You have everything. So he was giving me his soap and scrub. He was like, you want this? And pencils, paper, everything he had, he was giving to me. And I had so much stuff when he left. You know, they tell you to pack up, you know that you leaving, so he had the room all packed up. He was just, I was like, you gonna go out there and talk? He was like, nah, I don't give a fuck about none of them. Just stay in here and talk to me until they call me. So I just stayed in there and I sat with him and talked to him until they called his name to go. When they called his name, he stood up and he gave me a hug. I gave him a hug. I was like, yeah, man, just make sure you write me, man. I'm gonna miss you, bro. And he was like, I'm gonna miss you too, you know. And he walked away, and it was pretty much it. You know, every day I waited for Josh to write me a letter. I thought about him every day. You know, I was waiting. Every time it'd be mail call, I would sit there. If I got a letter, I would run and see if it was his name. He had my address, everything. You know, I was waiting and waiting and waiting. You know, maybe about a week or so later, I was in school, you know, and it was just a regular day. I was doing my work, and the teacher was reading a paper. And the teacher asked me, it's like, Ali, you remember Joshua? Damn. I don't want to say his last name, but he was pretty much like, you remember Josh? And I was like, yeah, that was my roommate, my cellie, you know. And he was like, he killed himself the other day. And I said, what? He killed himself? And he was like, yeah. And he got up and he walked over to me with the paper. And he showed me the article. And it had his name, his full name. And it was like, you know, he shot himself in the head playing Russian roulette. When I tell you, I lost it. Like, I was unconsolable at that moment because I just didn't think that he deserved to die that way. I couldn't understand why he would take his own life playing Russian roulette. I was hurt. It just didn't seem like something he would do. I replayed everything in my mind that he told me. I replayed his whole life and everything that he shared with me. In the last days when he was telling me that he didn't want to leave, and I just was telling him like, yeah, man, just go. Man, that shit hurt, man. I don't think he... I just don't understand. Like, still to this day, I think about Josh. And I be wondering, like, why he came into my life and the time that we had talking. That was my nigga, man. I don't know how I felt about Josh. I wasn't in love with him, but I loved him as a person. I understood his life. I understood the trials and the struggle of being a product of your environment, having to join a gang, you know, not having a family, a supportive family, just being out there in the streets he was a great kid that just died way too soon. And I don't understand the Russian roulette thing. It just don't seem like something he would have did. But this is just to let y'all know to cherish people that's in your life, because they could be gone in the blink of an eye.